Most people are conditioned to believe that hard work is the golden ticket to wealth. From a young age, we're told, work hard, stay late, and one day you'll make it. But here's the truth the wealthy know, and most people never learn: you don't get rich by working hard. You get rich by creating leverage. The shift from labor to leverage is one of the most critical transformations a person must make if they ever hope to rise above survival and step into abundance. Labor is what most of the world trades in. It's time-bound, energy-consuming, and physically limiting. When you trade labor for money, you are stuck inside a box with four unbreakable walls: time, effort, energy, and availability. You only have so many hours in a day. You only have so much energy. Your income becomes capped, not by your potential, but by your hours. That's why the idea of earning $10,000 an hour sounds ridiculous to someone whose income is based purely on labor, because no matter how strong, fast, or skilled they are, their physical body cannot multiply itself. Leverage, however, is what changes everything. Leverage means getting more output without more input. It's when you create systems that continue working even when you're not. It's when your knowledge, skills, resources, or network produce results at scale. Wealthy people don't work more hours. They create leverage. They don't ask, how can I do more? They ask, how can this get done without me doing it? To make this more real, imagine a man named Daniel. Daniel is a graphic designer. He's extremely talented, does stunning work, and has loyal clients. He charges $100 per hour, and on a good day, he works 8 hours and brings in $800. Not bad. But Daniel is stuck. If he gets sick, he makes no money. If he wants to travel, he stops earning. He's in the labor trap. No matter how high his hourly rate, he's still trading time for money. Now contrast that with Rachel, who also started as a graphic designer. She made the same $100 per hour when she began. But Rachel started thinking differently. Instead of doing one-off projects forever, she created a bundle of design templates and sold them online. She automated the process. While she slept, people downloaded her products. She didn't just sell her time, she sold her value at scale. Later, she trained a team of junior designers, developed a signature design course, and licensed her framework to creative agencies. Now, Rachel can make $10,000 in a single hour during a webinar or through a licensing deal because she shifted from labor to leverage. That's the power of leverage. Rachel doesn't work more hours than Daniel. In fact, she might work less, but her income is exponential, not linear. That's the difference. When you operate from labor, your life becomes a treadmill. You run faster, sweat more, work longer, and yet you stay in the same place. There's no multiplication, just motion. But when you start applying leverage, that's when your actions start multiplying. Every hour you spend building a system today can produce results for you tomorrow, next week, and next year. There are different types of leverage, and each of them can transform your life. The first is intellectual leverage, turning your knowledge and skills into assets. This could mean writing a book, creating a course, designing software, or building a brand that people trust and pay for. Instead of repeating the same task for every client, you document it, package it, and sell it. You move from being a doer to a thinker, from being the worker to being the architect. The second is technology leverage, letting software and automation do the heavy lift. A single funnel, a single email sequence, a single piece of content can go to work for you thousands of times while you sleep. This is how one video can reach 1 million people while you're on vacation. This is how one automated business system can bring in leads and sales without you lifting a finger. The third is people leverage, delegating and building a team. You stop asking, how can I do this? And start asking, who can do this for me? When you build a team, you multiply your capacity. You're not replacing yourself, you're expanding your influence. One person can only serve so many clients, but a team can scale your impact without requiring more of your time. And finally, there's capital leverage, using money to make more money. This could be investing in business, assets, ads, or opportunities that return value. Instead of just saving money, you put money to work. And when money works for you, you're no longer dependent on your labor. But here's the thing. The shift from labor to leverage is not just mechanical. It's a mindset transformation. Most people stay stuck in labor because they believe that more effort equals more reward. They believe they have to earn everything the hard way. They fear letting go. They fear risk. They believe no one can do it like them. They find identity in struggle. That mindset has to die. You have to stop glorifying hustle and start honoring wisdom. Wisdom says, let me do it once and get paid forever. Wisdom says, let me create, not just grind. Wisdom says grind. Wisdom says, let me rise above the noise and build something. The people who earn $10,000 an hour aren't doing 10 times more work than you. They're just using 10 times more leverage. They've stopped trying to outwork everyone and instead focus on outthinking and outpositioning everyone. They don't hustle harder. The beauty of leverage is that it frees your time, multiplies your income, and gives you room to live your life. It gives you the power to impact more people, earn more money, and create lasting value. So the next time you feel overwhelmed or stuck in a loop of never-ending work, stop and ask yourself, is this labor or is this leverage? Because the real wealth is not in doing more, it's in doing less with more impact. It's in building systems, products, and platforms that free you from the grind. And when you make that shift, not just in strategy, but in identity, you'll look up and realize the life you once thought was impossible is now inevitable. If you want to earn more, you have to solve bigger problems. It's that simple. Money flows in direct proportion to the size, urgency, and cost of the problem you solve. If you solve a $10 problem, expect to get paid like someone who solves $10 problems. But if you solve a $10,000 problem, now you're playing in a different league. High-income earners don't just work harder, they solve higher stakes problems. Most people are stuck solving low-stakes problems because they've never stopped to ask themselves what kind of problem their time and talent is addressing. If someone pays you to mow their lawn, you're not solving a painful or urgent problem. It's a convenience, not a crisis. You may get paid $50 or $100, but that's it, because the value of the problem is low. On the other hand, if you help a business owner save $100,000 in lost revenue due to a marketing error, they will not blink to pay you $10,000 because the stakes are high. High-stakes problems carry weight. They create tension. They involve loss, risk, or gain that matters deeply to someone. These are the problems people will move mountains to solve. These are the problems people don't want delayed. They want them handled now, and they're willing to pay top dollar for the right solution. If you want to command $10,000 an hour, you must stop competing with people who solve easy, common problems and step into the arena of real impact. You have to think like a strategist, like a doctor in an emergency room, not like a clerk in an emergency room, not like a clerk. The world doesn't pay you for showing up. It pays you for showing up with solutions that change outcomes. Let's make this practical with a story. Imagine two professionals, Tony and Lisa. Tony is a personal trainer who helps people lose weight. He charges $75 per session and works with everyday clients at a gym. He's good at what he does, but his calendar is full and his income is capped. Now, Lisa is also a personal trainer, but she took a different approach. She realized that executives and high-level entrepreneurs face enormous pressure, often neglect their health, and that poor health directly affects their productivity and decision-making. Lisa studied the unique stresses of that lifestyle, learned how to help them optimize their energy, lose weight, and regain focus in record time. She didn't market herself as a trainer. She positioned herself as a performance consultant for high-stakes leaders. Lisa didn't sell sessions. She sold transformation. Her offer was, I help high-level leaders lose 20 pounds in 60 days, reverse burnout, and regain their peak mental edge without sacrificing their schedule. She charged $10,000 for a 60-day intensive. Why? Because the people she served were losing far more than $10,000 by staying stuck in their physical and mental slump. For them, her service wasn't a fitness plan. It was a lifeline. The stakes were high, and Lisa brought the solution. That's the difference. Tony and Lisa have similar skill sets, but Lisa solved a high-stakes problem. She went beyond function and tapped into pain, urgency, and cost. When you solve a problem that's hurting someone's life, family, business, or legacy, they'll pay almost anything to fix it. Because now it's not about cost, it's about relief. Think of it like this. If you're at home and your sink is leaking, you might take your time calling a plumber. You'll shop around, look for someone affordable, maybe even try to fix it yourself. But if your basement is flooding and water is destroying your property, you're not looking for the cheapest plumber. You're looking for the cheapest plumber. You're looking for the fastest, most competent expert. That plumber can charge 5 times the regular rate, and you'll say yes without hesitation. Why? Because now the problem is high stakes. The same principle applies in every field. A website designer who builds basic sites for local businesses may make a few $100s per job. To make it $10,000 an hour, you must stop solving small, insignificant problems and start solving high-stakes problems, problems that carry real weight, urgency, and financial or emotional cost. You don't get paid based on how many hours you work or how busy you are. You get paid based on the level of value you create. And value is directly tied to the magnitude of the problem you solve. Small problems pay small. Big problems pay big. It's not about how hard you work. It's about how strategically you position yourself to handle challenges that matter. High-stakes problems are those that create tension, pressure, and risk for the person experiencing them. These are problems that keep people up at night. Problems that impact businesses, health, relationships, freedom, or legacy. When someone is facing a problem with real consequences, they don't want average solutions. They don't want to shop around for the cheapest deal. They want it solved fast, effectively, and by someone who knows exactly what they're doing. That's where you come in, not as a service provider, but as a solution architect. Most people stay broke or average income earners because they spend their time solving low-value problems. They're fixing things that are inconvenient but not critical. They're helping people who don't mind waiting or can afford to live with the issue for a while. And when you solve problems that people can live with, you get paid like someone who's optional. Use optional. But when you solve problems people can't live with, you become essential. You become a must-have, not a nice-to-have. Let's bring this to life with a simple but powerful example. Imagine a woman named Clara, who's a website designer. She builds websites for local businesses, restaurants, barbershops, yoga studios. She's skilled and hardworking, charging around $1,000 per site. But she's constantly chasing clients, negotiating over price, and competing with cheaper designers online.